Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Here I will refute another argument that is commonly leveled against proponents of indefinite human longevity, namely, the idea that by extending human life indefinitely and lifting this terrible death sentence that hangs over all of us, we are, quote, playing God. Now, it would be easy for an atheist like me to just brush this argument aside and say, well, I don't believe in God anyway, so how can we be playing a non-existent entity? Well, that argument then would not be very convincing to those people who do believe in God. And if you don't believe in God already, you obviously wouldn't be raising the playing God argument. So let me speak to those who would raise such an argument, and virtually all of these people are monotheists who believe in the Abrahamic God. Now, the Abrahamic God is defined as being simultaneously omnipotent, omniscient, and omnibenevolent. Now, I believe that this definition is self-contradictory, but let's leave that aside for a moment. Let's consider, then, what playing God would have to mean. It would have to mean that humans would need to aspire to become simultaneously omnipotent, omniscient, and omnibenevolent. Now, does anyone see a problem with this? I do. It's impossible. It is completely impossible for human beings to ever have the power to do absolutely anything at all. I believe that although any particular challenge can be overcome, overcoming that challenge raises lots of new questions and lots of new challenges that are derivative from that initial challenge, which has just been overcome. Think about what would happen, for instance, if human beings ever managed to send people to Mars. Well, the next question would be, can we establish a habitat for humans on Mars? And then once we've established a habitat for humans on Mars, can we terraform Mars so that we don't have to live in enclosed spaces all the time? And once we've settled Mars, the next question would be, well, what about those planets in other galaxies? Can we go there? What would be the resource expenditures required to do that? So every problem that we solve raises new problems, and at any point in time, we humans will never be omnipotent, no matter what we do. And likewise with omniscience, every question we answer raises 10 or more new questions that we can't answer at the moment, but may answer at some later time. And as for omnibenevolence, well, there will always be evil people, people who intend to do harm. Hopefully, as time passes, there will be fewer of them, but if human beings have free will, as many people with both a religious and non-religious disposition recognize, then a person can always choose to be evil. So it's not like human beings, all of them, will ever be completely benevolent all the time. So it's impossible for human beings to become like God under the Abrahamic definition. It won't happen. If human beings achieve indefinite longevity, there will still be many, many obstacles to them becoming omnipotent, omniscient, and omnibenevolent. Let's say that human beings do manage to ward off senescence, so that we don't have to die before we're 100 or 120. Well, there will still be other major problems to resolve, like how do we prevent an asteroid from hitting the Earth and wiping out all of the human species and a lot of the other life that exists here? How do we settle other planets? How do we design viable political systems that don't oppress human beings and don't deprive them of their freedoms? Those will still be problems that we would need to address at that time. And moreover, curing senescence will not mean eliminating accidental causes of death. So other problems that would arise would be, how can we be safer? How can we fight fewer wars? How can we develop safer transportation. Surely, we would not be gods in any stretch if we lived indefinitely. All that we would be is a little bit less frail and a little bit less miserable. We wouldn't be condemned to death within a geological instant. I say that's not even close to playing God. That's not even thinking about playing God. That's not even dreaming about thinking about playing God. And besides, human beings, in the state of nature, have many fewer capacities than we have today. They're unable to communicate over long distances. They're unable to cure many diseases which are commonly curable today. They're unable to transport themselves very far. They're unable, even in many cases, to fight off vicious predators that currently can be very easily eliminated. Now, if somebody in an earlier era suggested one of these innovations, would it have been right to accuse that person, as many people doubtless did, of playing God simply because he attempted to broaden the range of human ability? Now, as we understand, those prior inventions, which most religious people use as well, were not playing God, so neither will be the many future inventions that will come about. So, I'm not here trying to challenge anybody's faith in God, although in other places in this series I might. But for this particular argument to be rejected, you don't have to reject your religion. To have progress is not the same as to become or try to become omnipotent and omniscient. It is possible to recognize human limitations in that sense without renouncing all of the good things we can do to improve our lives.